Good evening and welcome to News Channel 8. I'm Jerome Aegean, and here's some of the top stories we have for you tonight. A man is shot and killed on St. Thomas. Crime Stoppers to the rescue on their second anniversary. And a warning for all of us as blackmail moves to another level. These stories and more are up next on News Channel 8. In our top story tonight, the body count continues to rise in our tiny Caribbean territory. Perhaps that's why we are statistically number 2 in the world for homicides. Last night on St. Thomas, another young man lost his life in a hail of bullets. News Channel 8's Wes Small files this report along with police spokesperson Melody Rames.
Thanks a lot, Jerome. Sadly, we do have the third homicide in our territory. We believe it was last night in the area of Crystal Gata. And I want to take it to Melody Rames, VIPD spokesperson, as she talks about a 28-year-old who met an untimely death last night on St. Thomas.
Police on St. Thomas are investigating a fatal shooting that occurred at about 9:30 p.m. on Monday, January 17th on Garden Street near Crystal Gata. Police were advised of shots fired on Garden Street by the 911 Emergency Dispatch Center. When police arrived on the scene and made an inspection of the area, they saw the victim, who was later identified as 28-year-old Keith Andrews, lying unresponsive in the public street. He was taken to the Roy Lester Schneider Regional Medical Center and pronounced dead by medical staff. Police need the community's help in solving this crime and other violent crimes. If you know anything about this crime or have any information that can help the police, please call the Criminal Investigation Bureau detectives at 715-5522 or 714-9834. You can call the Major Crime Bureau detectives at 715-5545, or you can call Crime Stoppers, USVI, at 1-800-222-TIP.
Thanks, Wes. And on St. Croix, 2 teenagers got more than they bargained for when they tried to steal someone's baby palm trees. Or were they another type of tree? Here's News Channel 8's Wes Small and Melody Rames again.
A little closer to home then, we do believe it was yesterday in Frederickstead where we had a fight or some type of altercation involving one man at least assaulted with an object, be it a pipe or a brick. That fight led to something bad. He had to be taken to the hospital by ambulance. We believe we will be checking on that. Right now, I'd like to keep you updated on those shootings that I alluded to yesterday. You might remember that. We were pretty right on that. And let's go to Melody Rames with more on the latest shootings that happened on St. Croix.
Police on St. Croix are investigating 2 non-fatal shootings that occurred recently. In one instance, a 17-year-old minor was shot and the suspect was arrested. The second shooting involved a vehicle which overturned after being fired upon. The 17-year-old minor told police that on Sunday, January 15th, minutes before noon, he and a friend were in a bushy area near his home looking for small palm trees, and he heard someone firing shots. He said he and his friend ran home, and he realized that he was shot. Police investigation led them to a neighbor, later identified as 54-year-old Gregory Ritter of Estate Richmond. Ritter told police that he was recently robbed, and when he saw 2 persons in his property, he discharged several shots at them. Further investigation revealed several marijuana plants in a fenced area on the Ritter property. Ritter was arrested and charged with reckless endangerment first degree. His bail was set at $10,000, and he was remanded to the Golden Grove Correctional Facility pending further court action. The minor was shot in his right flank and the lower right side of his stomach. He was treated at the Governor Juan F. Louis Hospital and Medical Center. And on Sunday, January 16th, at about 5 a.m., police were dispatched to a single-car accident. The vehicle was overturned by the Estate Science Farm stoplight. Police interviewed the driver, who stated that he was returning home from a nightclub when an unknown vehicle sped up beside him and began firing shots at him. When he attempted to turn into Estate Science Farm, his vehicle overturned. The victim was wounded by gunfire in his upper right back and his right forearm. He was treated at the hospital. Police are urging anyone who has information on these or any other criminal acts to call detectives at 712-6077, 712-6037, or you can call Crime Stoppers, USVI, at 1-800-222-TIPS.
Thanks, Melody Rames of the Virgin Islands Police Department. Well, Crime Stoppers are celebrating their second anniversary with some phenomenal results. Here's Wes with more.
Thanks a lot, Jerome. We're in Times Square, right here at the St. Croix Foundation, where it's the second anniversary of Crime Stoppers. Judy Fricks and also Thomas Hanna, coordinators of the program. And let's first start off with Judy Fricks, the chairperson, as she talks about her second year and Crime Stoppers and what it means to our territory.
I want to thank the people who have taken our brochures, our cards, our posters, our bumper stickers, and displayed them proudly, announcing our phone number, announcing our website, and all the different ways to reach Crime Stoppers. The taxi drivers who have passed out our cards, who keep them in their vans, obviously the police officers who do the same thing. There's a lot of people who have very quietly worked to promote Crime Stoppers, and so we need to thank them as well. Got to thank law enforcement. Obviously, without all of our law enforcement partners, not only VIPD, but we have a lot of other local and federal partners who we work with every day. Without them taking each tip, investigating them thoroughly, and also encouraging others to call Crime Stoppers if they're not comfortable talking to law enforcement, obviously we wouldn't be here. We've received 931 tips. Of those 931 tips, it's led to 101 arrests, okay? Of those 101 arrests, it has included over $84,000 in stolen property being recovered. Over $100,000 in drugs have been confiscated. I'm really impressed with that number. 67 illegal weapons have been recovered.
I got to tell you, I worked with Crime Stopper detectives in my short career at WABC at Eyewitness News in New York. And to see it take off there, okay, because there was millions of people when you talk about anonymity and so forth. But here in the Virgin Islands, I never thought Crime Stoppers would take off. And believe it or not, neither did Thomas Hanna, former chief and one of the chairpersons. He had his doubts as well.
Since 2009, I must admit, I'm going to say it, and I say it publicly and I've said it privately. I didn't think Crime Stoppers would take off in this territory. Because prior to that, Captain Walt Julio, who is deceased now, attempted to start this some years ago. And unfortunately, didn't get the reception and didn't get the support. But through the tenacity of Alan Brown, former Commissioner James McCall, and with Commissioner Novelli Francis today, we've been able to move ahead. And I can tell you, it has changed law enforcement to a great degree in this territory. And why I say that? Citizen involvement. It has helped us to break that barrier that has been there for so long, where the citizens will not get involved. Oh, police is not going to do this. Oh, police is not going to do that. But now they have an avenue to get involved, and they're doing it.
But there, as you could see, Thomas Hanna got a turnaround just like myself. Crime Stoppers is important to our territory. One thing that is interesting, Stop the Bleeding and Michelle Francis, also Senator Sammy Sanis, they both talked about community involvement as far as the housing communities are concerned, and your children. And it's not the VIPD's fault. It's not the media's fault. It's your fault, the parents.
We cannot legislate responsibility. We cannot legislate behavior. That is up to the parents, and I keep emphasizing this. On the 28th legislature, I became the chairperson of public safety, and I keep emphasizing that it is ultimately the parents' responsibility to educate our children in our community. That's the bottom line, and that is something that we have to work together. You can have 1,000 programs, you can have 1,000 police officers, but if the parents do not get involved, it's not worth it. And that's what it's all about.
We also got to look at the home. There's a lot of parents out there that are just afraid of their children, afraid to talk to their children, afraid to guide their children, afraid to report their children. I would say to them right now, we are in a fix here in the Virgin Islands. You either be part of the solution or you continue the problem. You cannot help your child by supporting them in bad behavior. If you know that they're doing something wrong in the house, whether they're bringing in weapons, they're bringing in drugs, they're committing crimes, they're out past their curfew, this is the time for you to speak up. This is the time for you to get with Crime Stoppers and VIPD so that legislation can be passed to help you and your children to get past this hump. It's not going to happen by just blaming or pointing finger or holding one group or organization accountable. It can't work that way. We are a community of one fighting towards the same thing, peace. And if there's not peace in your home, that peace travels outside your home. So if you know who is part of the problem, I implore you, reach out to our teams here that's trying to reach out to you. Because by helping them, you will be helping your child possibly to not go to jail or not to end up in the cemetery.
Well, there you have it. Crime Stoppers is making a difference. After 2 years in our territory, crime is down in a way. Unfortunately, homicides, they're still on the rise. But yet and still, Crime Stoppers making a difference in our territory. 1-800-222-TIPS. 1-800-222-TIPS. At Times Square, I'm Wes Small for News Channel 8.
Thanks, Wes, for that report. Congratulations to Crime Stoppers on their excellent work for the last 2 years. And we've just received more good news for Crime Stoppers. Crime Stoppers has just been awarded Best Non-for-Profit Organization on St. Croix by the St. Croix Chamber of Commerce. Congratulations to them for that. And when we come back from this break, we'll check in with your Caribbean report as Baby Doc gets arrested and local blackmailers in cyberspace. Stay with us on Channel 8 News.